There, got another requested one today. So, first off, I wanted to go through the roster here. This is the new one from today, and just kind of cover a few things that were changed around. First off, the Dean Knight was pretty much made as requested. I'm pretty sure I got all the parts, including the tuning, down exactly. I noticed that the stats were slightly different, so I think it changed a couple points here and there, but it was only like a 10-point difference, so it didn't matter too much. The Intrepid, again, is made pretty much exactly. Seems to function alright. The Solid, this is Kongoki's AC from Master of Arena. He is the wooden AC. His colors were changed slightly to look more like wood, which I think was mostly just due to the fact that everything was faded out in the color scheme for MOA. So, just made him look more wooden, gave him a wooden shield, gave him some energy side shields, because I'd assume he'd have some fire suppression system on there. So those things are your heat insulation kind of shields. The Iron OW75, aka, hold on, let me pull up the friggin' wiki because I can't remember this guy's name, MxS7HGS, we'll just call him Max. So his AC, his core is supposed to be the same one that Intrepid has, however, it liked to overboost around. In general, he didn't really need to overboost around with how the tanks work in this game, as well as with how the AI likes to fight, so he really did not need his overboost function. It's been a while, but I don't recall him overboosting much in the original, and he is more than fine without it. So I thought that this one looked a little cooler, and it already was in use, so figured between the two of them, he needs his OB less, and he's more about being tanky. So, there we go. So that was on there. Everything else is almost exactly like it at least shows on the wiki page. His insides and internals are not really known. It said there wasn't any inside parts, so I don't believe he has any. But yeah, no, I just matched around the internals to function more for what he's trying to do. His cooling appears low at first, given the previous, what used to previously be known as the Icicle. I still want to call it that. But, yeah. Cooling-wise, he's got this thing. I just figure he is going to be better off at cooling off down the road and just kind of eating heat as it comes. It's not ideal, but he goes a little bit high on his heat with, or rather, he goes a little bit, high on his weight with how he's put together. And then lastly is the Warhead, that's Advent's AC from Silent Line. The only real change here was with the shoulder extensions. Since the Dean Knight was already using them, he was switched out for the slightly lighter version. It basically does the same thing. He doesn't have a whole lot of uses for his missiles, and he doesn't even tend to use them that often. So they function in almost exactly the same way. So, now to actually get to what's going on here. So, it's going to be the Iron OW75, or was it 0? Hell if I know. It looks like an O to me. Again, at least on the wiki. So, we're going to have tank versus tank. So, he is the resident tank for Nexus. Then we're also going to have the resident tank for MOA. He was put together as a joke character. He's, well, as you can pretty much see plainly there, he's a weird build. It said unknown for his left arm. I know it's probably a blade, but he likes to stick at longer range. Instead, I gave him a nice wooden shield instead. Because I have a feeling, you know what? He probably would do that. His whole thing in MOA was just being ludicrously undamageable. Like, I think you could actually put the entire 1000 MG into him and it would not be enough to kill him. I want to say it only did like 7 or 8 damage per shot. Something like that. Like I said, it's been a little while since then. I just remember him being absurdly tanky. I went for this pulse rifle because it was listed as a rapid-fire one in the wiki, and this one also looked very similar, so I have a feeling it was meant to be the same one. And then lastly, I gave him the Selena, because it feels like he should use it. The core they used was very similar to this. Okay, so far Kongoki's winning it. If one of his larges connect, that's going to be the end of that fight, I think. In general, the Solid is definitely more about defense than offense. And his whole thing is about just tanking as many hits as he can, but it Yeah, looks like Iron's gonna get him. Or Max, as I decided to call him. Nice. There we go. So that's 1 to Max. So I'm not gonna memorize your name, dang it. Yes, I have it up on my screen. I'm still not gonna say, because that is a completely unrememberable name. Why do you do this sometimes, guys? It's because it's meant to be like a badge or something. I know the one from AC2 was a prisoner. Was it the same with this guy? Hang on, let me look at the wiki. Does it say anywhere? No, he's just all tactical and crap, so... Just gonna assume this guy lives with his AC in like a bunker or whatever, expecting to get, you know, probably 4th apocalypse that week. Except in this timeline, that is completely acceptable, because it seems like they can't go a single generation without an apocalypse. I guess that'll happen when you've got death machines everywhere. That lag, though. Might have that effect lag. As to why Kongoki's AC doesn't really want to use, or the Solid, rather, doesn't want to use his side shields, I don't know. He should be using them. And they've both got 1600 plus defense in each thing, so they can tank a lot of shots. Alright, so this is going pretty solidly to Iron. Alright, I'm gonna keep switching between the names and ACs to drive people nuts. And gonna go way to the other end of this thing. Okay. Yeah, you know, I really was expecting the Solid to do better. But yeah, the Iron's got friggin' firepower for days. It's nuts. You know, I think it's mostly because Kongoki's not using his missiles as much. He's only fired 1 this entire time. And he loved those things in testing, so who knows. Oh, but there's one. That wasn't enough to overheat him. But that's kind of what the new icicle is all about anyway. You gotta get up to the top of that heat bar, but then cool it down from there. So yeah, if he got 3 missile hits, that's how he'd have to win. But that's that. Looks like guy whose name is unpronounceable, furthermore known as Max, is the winner of this one.